All right, welcome back to the Command Your Brand Show. I'm your host, Josh Silvestro, brand ambassador of Command Your Brands. So in this, we actually talk to CEOs and founders about what they are, what they do, and why they started the company. So I actually have a very special guest speaker who I love to talk to you about and just kind of get more information about, and maybe ask questions around this. And and just so you guys know, so people know, this is my first time talking to this person, so I know absolutely nothing. This is not planned, not script, but I would love to just talk to him as a genuine person. So I'd like to introduce you guys to Alexandra. So Alexandra, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you so much for having me. These are my favorite types of conversations.
Yeah. So I guess we'll first start off because, I don't really know much about you, and I guess people who listen probably don't know much about you either. So I know you have your own company called Just the Inserts. So I guess just tell us a little bit about yourself and like why you started the company and how you got into the industry that you are in today.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. So Just the Inserts provides training and resources for patients and parents to make informed medical decisions. Whether you're researching a pharmaceutical drug, like an over-the-counter or prescription, or researching a vaccine. And now I'm starting to do more research on procedures. So this all started out of my own necessity. I was a new mom. And I was just researching all of the products that were being recommended to me in my OBGYN appointments, my midwife appointments, and my pediatrician appointments. And I just wanted to be more knowledgeable and understand what exactly I was accepting. I am a big proponent in being knowledgeable and confident in the decisions that you make for any product that you put in on your body, especially for our children.
Yes.
And I realized as I started to research that it was a very polarizing topic, and there were kind of two camps that were either anti or pro, and I didn't fit into either of them. So my goal was to go straight to the source, go straight to what the government said about pharmaceutical products, go straight to the manufacturers, and I ended up finding what's called manufacturer inserts. They are also called drug labeling, and I really taught myself how to read manufacturer inserts. I don't have a medical background. I'm Air Force veteran. I was in the Air Force for 5 years, got out, became a mom.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I do have some expertise in just researching things and how to navigate .gov websites. My old commander used to call me Eagle Eye, so I do have that skill. And as I started researching, I realized that a lot of things that I was reading on manufacturer inserts aren't widely discussed with the public, with patients and with parents, by the medical industry, by scientific communities. So I just started posting my research, and I just started taking parts of inserts and .gov websites and putting them on social media. And I started getting contacted by just flooded by medical professionals and people in the pharmaceutical industry that were saying, I never knew this. I had no idea that the FDA, CDC, NIH said this about these products. I'm going to read the inserts myself too. And so I just started creating this amazing, incredible community of patients, parents, medical providers, all of us just wanting to have open and respectful conversation about medical products. So that's how it started. And I am just fueled by the amount of feedback that I get that what I produce is helpful. And I never want to make that decision for the patient or parent. My goal is to make sure that you are informed, that you can make the best decision for your situation, because what works for you might not work for me. And I just want you to know everything, to be aware. So if there are certain adverse reactions that are associated with a medical product, you could be observant of any of those potential adverse reactions. And if an adverse reaction does present in you or your child, that you can expedite treatment and get the care that you need.
That's so awesome. I also want to thank your service, by the way, because I know, and you don't really perceive it like that, because there's some people you just know they've been in the service, or you have that background, you have that what's the word, discipline, if that makes more sense. And I really appreciate that. And I think it's kind of really amazing how you took the leap forward and just actually creating your own space and what people want help with the most. And I think, and as a mom, I'm not a mom obviously, but I know you as a mother, you probably can appreciate this, is like, a lot of people come to me actually who are mothers or CEOs, and I don't know what it is. They always attract to me for some reason, just because they're so helpful, they're so nice, And you guys just have this amazing ability to like have your own business and have a kid. And it's like amazing to me. I don't know how you do it. I was a rowdy kid when I was younger. So I'm amazed how you are able to have something and have a kid at the same time. It blows my mind.
I have three. So
You have three. Oh
I
my
have
God.
three. Yeah, I have to be very efficient.
That's so funny is basically, except for one guest, all my guests are a mother and they all have three kids. I don't know what it is with it's like the magic three. That should be my next episode, is the magic three.
Yeah,
That's great.
exactly.
So, and I guess like for people like, because a lot of people who are listening are all like CEOs and founders. They're all some of them are mothers. Some of them are mothers that want to start a business. Like, how did you get involved and like, how did you actually start the idea of where you are today?
I am a firm believer that your misery becomes your ministry. And unfortunately, I have been on the receiving end of adverse reactions for myself. And then my first child was injured by a pharmaceutical product. So
Wow.
Even though I cover that product, I'm very hesitant to share my personal background, just because I would never want that to influence someone to delay or decline that product. I want you to make the informed decision for yourself. But I do talk about it because that's what started. I started because I was forced to read manufacturer inserts and I was forced to learn more about the industry. I don't think you could really find true healing if you don't understand what caused the original issue. At least it's a lot easier to get the healing that you need, and especially for my daughter. So that's what started all of this, and what keeps me going is all of the other parents that message me and they say, my daughter developed eczema, or we were diagnosed with a certain condition. Do you know if there's any tie? And I happen to look up the insert and then it's listed on the insert. And so the manufacturers know, the government knows, but the parents don't know. And I think that's a missing component in our culture right now. It's not this villainous thing. I just want you to know, because then you can make more informed decisions whether you accept, delay, or decline.
Yeah. And I guess like for people, because, there's a lot of new moms out there, or there's a lot of moms that are like, who are also like running their own business, but they're also like trying to be moms. Like, what do you find that moms make the mistake of? I mean, I have an idea, but I'm not a mom, so I can't really say what the actual truth is. And because obviously you're a mom. What do you find is the mistakes people make in actually reading these labels and actually buying the correct things for them?
Well, a lot of us, we see healthcare as a service. And when we go to our doctor, we kind of just blindly accept whatever they give us, whether it's a diagnosis or a prescription. And I believe it's 20% of diagnoses are incorrect. And so that's the first issue, is to make sure that whatever you or your child are being diagnosed with matches what you see, because you are the expert in your child. When you go and you open the door up to your child's bedroom to get them first thing in the morning, you know what kind of day it's going to be. You know if they're cranky. You know you just know them. You know if they're catching a cold. So for you to have that expert knowledge of your child is very important. And I think a lot of parents downplay that. They think that a pediatrician is automatically going to know something about their child, but you have to understand those pediatricians see hundreds, sometimes thousands of patients, right. And you have to be able to discern if they provide a diagnosis for your child. Does that match what you see? Does it match what you know about the diagnosis itself? So that's the first part. And then the second part is a parent might think that the prescription or a pharmaceutical that's recommended is the only option. And that's not the case. There are many options. There's many tools in the toolbox. Modern medicine is amazing. We have so many things available to us. And there's more and more, especially the NIH has an entire section of their website to alternative and complementary healthcare. So there are things that you can do in conjunction with a pharmaceutical or in replacement of a pharmaceutical. So the biggest thing I see for parents is not understanding that they have more power to be able to make the best decision for their child in that current situation.
Yeah. Do you find a lot of parents make a mistake when accepting or denying certain medications, or like going through some of these things where like, a kid has certain things happening and it's like, you don't know what to do. So you just buy whatever you can to just kind of fix it. Like, do you have like a rule book or like I ask people this in different industries. Like, do you have a different like a checklist of like things that like what constitutes what'll help it or what won't help it?
I have a great resource. So
Yeah.
because of I've been there, I
Yeah.
totally understand, especially when you have a sick child. You just want them to heal. Like you also have um you care about them as a person. You want them to heal because you don't want to see them in pain. But we have schedules to stick to. And there are student plays that we have to attend and holidays and all of those things. So you just want to have that quick fix. I get it. I totally understand it. But if we look at the picture as a whole, according to the manufacturers, according to the government, there are certain products that are just band-aids. They don't fix the root
Mm,
cause. They might actually, if you zoom back and look at the full picture, that actually might be causing more pain in the long run or might be causing more money in the long run. So
right.
I created a resource called How to Read an Insert. It's a free training course on my website. You don't need an email to access it, and it will always be free as long as the website exists. I
Nice.
teach you everything about how to find and read manufacturer inserts. I go step by step. I have screenshots. It's all cited from .gov information, from FDA, CDC, NIH, and I just teach you how to do all of this for yourself. I'm a big believer that, what is the term? If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for the day, but if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's what I tried to do with this training course. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to go through, but you can break it up. There's audio options in English and Spanish. You can stop and go however you see fit. And it's just a really great resource that I wish I would have had when I first started researching products.
Wow. That's awesome. And I think, too, it's so important. And now we live in a day and age where like everyone just gets educated via the internet and like courses and just things like that. So I think that's so cool that you have your own training tool to kind of actually do it. Do you also do books as well, or just like
Yes.
just a course? Oh,
I
nice.
just published my first book earlier
Wow.
this year. I actually had my third baby in spring, and I wrote the book while she was a newborn. And it was actually the perfect time to write a book because she was just breastfeeding and she just slept on my lap. And I
Yeah.
typed out the book. I would not be able to write a book right now because she's crawling everywhere.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um, I guess by your third, you just get used to having, a baby with you. So life goes on. You have to do everything. But
Yeah.
I do have the book available now. That's available on my website, justtheinserts.com. I have a hardback, paperback, and an ebook version as well.
Wow. Now, I actually was curious because, like, I've never really spoken to like someone, especially as a mother who's in the military now has 3 kids, which is amazing. Um, do you find with parents, like with your training, because obviously you've done some certain training to be in the military, doing the actions that you do you find that there's training that you've used that parents don't have that they think that they should have in terms of raising a kid or just like having a kid or anything like that?
Well, I think with the military, there's pluses and minuses. In the
Yeah.
military, everything is standardized. There's
Right.
a certain protocol that you have to stick to. You are most of your identity is stripped from you. There's a reason why you all wear the same uniform. When I was in, we had a lot more strict. We couldn't wear, certain color socks. We couldn't wear certain color nail polishes. Actually, it's kind of funny when I got out of the military. Most people men will grow a beard because that's their way of showing that they have an independence. And I actually dyed my hair pink for a little while just to
Wow.
show like I'm finally out. I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
So the minuses is that in the military, everything is so standardized that you kind of just blindly follow that because that's what you're supposed to do. And as a parent, there are a plethora of options on how to parent, and that you also are dealing with your spouse or your partner. So you're trying to deal with that situation and how do you co-parent together and find the best solution. So the military didn't prepare me in that sense, but in the sense of time management, being efficient, going straight to the source on things, discernment, wisdom, those types of skills I did learn. I was a budget officer, and so I had to be very discerning about the certain missions that I worked on and how to support them and make sure that they were equipped in what they needed to accomplish. So those types of skills have helped me and served me pretty well as a parent.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the most amazing thing about people in the military is that they have such disciplinary things, and a lot of people actually keep them in the household. And I think that's so important because as a mom, like your time is so valuable, especially someone with 3 kids. You're like, my time is like this. Like, you have to be so categorized, with that. And I find that like, listen, I'm a dude, and it's like your time is like sometimes it's all over the place and sometimes it's very categorized, but nothing compares to having 3 kids and your mom and you have a household to run. So like, I guess for people who like are those people, like their moms and like they're struggling with, how do I organize myself with, especially with 3 kids or even just 2 or even 1, like how do you do it? Like, what is your successful action in doing that?
They're called anchor points. So I
Mm,
look at my schedule and I figure out what my anchor points are. So that might be church, it might be school, it might be certain recurring meetings that you have. The best thing to do is just look at a calendar, print out a weekly calendar. You can easily pull one up on Google or something and just print it out. And it's, Sunday through Saturday,
yeah.
and just write down your anchor points. What are the things in your life that you've committed to that you have to stick to every single week, and then plan your week around that. So, for example, on Mondays, I know that my oldest goes to preschool, and I know that my second doesn't go to preschool. And of course, my third doesn't either. And then we also see a weekly chiropractor visit on Mondays. And every other Monday, I go to my church for MomCo, which is used to be MOPS, Moms of Preschoolers. It's all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
moms get together. So I know on Monday, these are my anchor points, and these are the things that I have to fit in. So it helps me schedule snacks and food and what types of food we might have. My Thursdays are generally wide open. I don't have anything on Thursdays. So I know maybe I can make a more advanced meal on Thursdays because I'll have the time. But Mondays are pretty quick meals. Or, Sundays I can prepare the meals for Monday. So just figuring out those anchor points is so helpful. It really focuses my efforts and allows me to be kind of loosey goosey when I'm able, and then be more strict when I need to be.
Yeah. Do you find too, and just out of curiosity, because, I was reading an article the other day, I don't recall who it was from, but like, kids are becoming more unhealthy as, in this day and age with all the snacking and all the things like that. Like, what's your take? I'm just out of curiosity on like the foods and like all the other stuff like the kids are fed and being taken care of.
That's a great question. So
Yeah.
with my first daughter's pharmaceutical injury, we were
Hmm.
very forced to address her nutrition. She had a lot of gastro issues and some
Yeah.
liver issues. So we actually really overhauled our diet during that process, even for ourselves as well. My husband struggles with disc disease, degenerative disc disease.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
alliteration there.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of inflammations.
Hmm.
So we just naturally have started to eat a little healthier, not 100%. We still have our guilty pleasures.
Sure.
But because of that, it really benefits us to eat a little healthier. We cannot afford to eat healthy at our local grocery store. We do have to do a Costco membership. We do have
Yeah.
to work with our local farmers to come out with a deal. My husband hunts our property. That helps with our budget as well.
Yeah.
So there are definitely some things that we have to um, um, compromise on, but we see the benefit of not having to deal with the health issues after the fact. I know instantly when my child has artificial dyes or has
Yeah.
seed oils or anything like that. I know their behavior changes, and then I have to deal with the aftermath. So it's just worth it not to even give them products
Yeah.
with those
Because
ingredients.
I find it interesting too, is that just the fact that, you know, kids are so important to us and like we want them to grow up to be healthy and safe and other things like that. And it's funny, it's just a lot of the things, especially these, people get these pharmaceutical and like other type of drugs. That's like, and of course I'm not really a doctor, so I wouldn't know this for sure, but it's like a lot of it comes back to what are they eating? What are they putting in their bodies that actually is creating the urge to like, I have to go to the doctor because I'm sick or I've, deficiency in something or I have a diabetes or something like that. So I find it fascinating just how, it's all about really the health of the kid and how you take care of the kid. Do you do you
Absolutely.
do you find that before they get onto these labels that that's people should look at first in terms of their health?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%. I think
yeah,
if a doctor is quick to write a prescription without discussing sleep, movement, and nutrition, that's a little bit of a red flag for me, and to maybe seek a second opinion.
right. And so it's so amazing just because like obviously kids are our future and like you have the ability to read and help parents or specifically moms to actually read these labels and just find out what's actually good, what's not good. Was there any type? Obviously, you don't have to name them here because I don't want to get canceled. Just kidding. But like, have you come across where like there's things that like aren't the greatest things for kids and like they should stay away from?
Personally, yes. There
Yeah.
are products, like there is one preventative product that is administered to 2, 4, and 6-month-old babies. It's meant to prevent diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, and it has sudden infant death syndrome listed as a known potential adverse reaction.
Wow.
Again, this is sitting on a .gov website, and the NIH says that the highest rate of SIDS for American babies are babies born in that range. So to me, personally, when I look at that, that's a big red flag. And I think that products should be pulled from the market just for further safety studies. But again, I don't want anybody to make a decision because of me. I want them to do their own research, and I want them to have the personal autonomy and responsibility and authority over their bodies and their children's bodies. So that's why
Right.
I'm a big advocate of researching yourself, looking at all the ingredients, looking at all the known contraindications. So those are conditions that might predispose you to an increased risk for an adverse reaction. Look at all of that and just make a more informed decision, and understand that there are risks involved with all medical products. There's also risks with diseases and complications.
Right.
And so just there's nothing bad about being more informed. There's really no downside to it. So taking that a little bit of time to be more informed, I think is great for you, yourself, your family, and our communities.
Yeah. So besides the label, is there other places people can check for the actual things that they're putting in the system in terms of these drugs or these other things that get put in the system?
Yes and no. There are some like educational resources, but I would say a lot of them cherry pick the information off of the labels. So I would recommend going straight to the labels.
Right. Because those are the best place where you're gonna find the detailed, like, what's inside the ingredients, right?
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. I really appreciate also too, like, there's just so much information out there. And sometimes, and I don't know if you can attest to this, where there's many opinions about different things. And, this one says, oh, it's fine. And then some people say, oh, it's not fine. And I guess for parents, for you, because you're really the more expert area in this for me than anyone that I really know. But, I find you have to kind of decide, like, what is good. Like, how do people know what's good and what's not good? Because, like, there's a list of 25,000 things on a label, but how do you know what's the bad thing and what's the good thing?
Really, I'm just painfully honest.
Yeah. They're all bad.
Copy and paste into your search engine and read it all. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
I'm not a medical professional. I just learned everything that I know from .gov resources and going straight to the source on what do they say. And I do touch on things that are outside of the inserts, like the pharmaceutical industry as a whole, just for you to have the context. So when the FDA says safe and effective, what does that mean? It might not be the same definition that you and I would think is safe and effective. Most of the times when they do say that, it's always in comparison to a complication of a disease. And in my opinion, that's a false dichotomy, which is a logical fallacy that suggests there's only two options. So you either accept this product or you're going to die. And on the flip side, other people say if you do accept that product, you're going to die, which is inaccurate as well. So it's important to stay in that middle and research the product and understand, okay, does this product make sense for me? Am I at risk for this? Is this something in my community? Do I live in the city? Do I live in the country? Does this run in my family? Do I have issues with my liver that I might not be able to detox the excipients in this product? The excipients are other ingredients in that product. So there might be other, like aluminum or thimerosal, which is mercury, or there's so many other ingredients out there. Also, too, a lot of these pharmaceuticals are grown in cultures like egg, or if you are kosher or halal, they might conflict with your dietary restrictions. And so it's important for you to know all the ingredients listed, so then you can fit what works best for you.
Nice. And I guess for people, I'm just kind of curious, like, people who kind of go to you and, like, get your help, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that do that. Could you give us an example or give us, like, a story that, like, has happened to you that, like, you helped someone, like, wow, you helped me so much. Thank you so much.
One of my favorite stories is this one woman. She was the picture of health, but she took my course anyway. She just wanted to be informed. And her husband had a heart attack.
Wow.
And they were sitting in the ER, and the nurse came up and said, we're going to administer this product to your husband. And she said, hold on, let me read the insert. So she took the training that she had gotten from me, and she pulled up the insert and she read through it. And in the contraindications section, those are the conditions that a patient or patient might have that predisposes them to increased risk. There was a listed contraindication that her husband had, and the manufacturer disclosed that if you have this condition, this complication, it can be fatal for you to take this product.
Wow.
And so she told the nurse, my husband has this condition. And the nurse said, oh, we can't give it to him then. But of course, you're in the ER situation. He has a heart attack. They don't have the time to go through the personal history of every single complication or condition. Right. And you're in that situation. You might not remember everything. So I love that example because even though it didn't personally affect her taking the course, she was able to make an informed decision for her husband when he was dealing with a heart attack and wasn't 100% conscious and able to make that discerning decision. So for her to be an advocate for him, I think is wonderful.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the time that you kind of give us. And I really appreciate, because I know you're a busy lady with 3 kids and have your own company. So I really appreciate the time that you kind of given us and asking a lot of questions about all this stuff. So I was kind of very curious about when you sent me like, oh, what is this? And I'm really curious, So I really appreciate the time that you kind of given us for that. And for people to reach out to you to kind of get more information, what's a good place for people to reach out to you?
JustTheInserts.com. I have everything linked there. I have the training course, the book, my social media, my email. Everything is on JustTheInserts.com.
Awesome. Well, Alexandra, I really appreciate the time that you've given us. And of course, I thank everyone for listening to this. And if you guys liked us, please like and subscribe, because I definitely want people to listen to this and also find out who you are. And of course, if you guys are interested in getting on podcasts, definitely reach out to us at commandyourbrain.com and book a call and check out our book too. And thank you again for joining us. And thanks, Anzandra, for having you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.